So the suitcases out there are
Your traveling
my
podcast.
traveling podcast.
Yeah.
It goes in the suitcases. Tammy won those at an event, and yes, here we are. Well,
You're as bad as I am. You can recycle anything.
yeah, I know. I want to start putting like stickers on them just to make it look fun, or paint something on it. I don't know.
Oh, I like the sticker idea because that's
Yeah.
the biggest trend are stickers right now. All over your drink cup and all over your car. Yeah, my kid has them all over her drink cups and all over her car. And I'm like, what do you do when you trade your car in? She goes, I have to scrape them all off. And I'm like, your whole history comes off your vehicle.
Yeah. See, I don't have stickers. I only have one on my back little window, and it's like a wave, and it says "Stay salty."
That's good.
I kind of loved it
Uh-huh.
because it has many meanings.
Many consultations.
Many, yes.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, you're in for another two-parters because today I'm sitting down with Jeff Double from All About Reclaimed. Someone whose energy is as bright as his creativity. The kind of person who instantly makes you smile. Jeff has a gift for seeing beauty and possibility in everything he touches. From weddings to events to one-of-a-kind pieces. Every creation carries its own unique charm. Jeff is thoughtful, personal, and completely unforgettable, just like his creations. Here's part 1 with Jeff Double. I'm sitting here with Jeff Double, and I'm so excited to be sitting here with you.
Well, I'm thrilled to be in the same room with the famous Laura Craig.
Oh, gosh, I don't know if I'm famous.
Oh,
but
you are. Well, you're like me. You're either famous or infamous. It depends on who you talk to.
I like that. Oh, my gosh. I also have sound effects. And you know what I have? I have a special one for you that I'm going to hit at some point. So,
Well, I'll take the round of applause.
there's
We
a
all
couple
need
special
that.
ones. We do. I feel like right now, too, I feel like everybody needs a round of applause.
We need to get Alexa to have that. You know, hey Alexa, I did something great, and she gives you a round of applause.
Do you have an Alexa?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
You need to test it out. See if you can. Can you teach her things?
I can barely teach myself to walk, let alone
Oh my
the
gosh.
Alexa. But yeah, you know, but I have taught my Alexa, or it's already comes with the system, to sing "Happy Birthday" to my staff because unfortunately, Laura, I am not an actor and I don't have a singing voice. So I always say to Alexa, can you please sing to Terry? And off she goes.
Well, that's special. I love that.
I try to be a big-hearted person.
Yes. Well, you are a big-hearted person. That's why we're sitting here today. I'm really excited to do a 2-part with you as well. That's what we're doing. So anyone who's listening, this is part 1 with Jeff Double. One of the things you said when we first met, your slogan is, I don't know if it is your slogan, but I'm making it your slogan for this, is find your hook. And you found your hook.
Absolutely.
You have found your hook.
You have to be able to find your hook and get people's attention on a positive level. And I've worked now for, probably 50 years of what I've been doing and trying to get positive attention and increase my visibility through community activism and community awareness. And it's important that people know that you're a good person in your soul.
Mm-hmm.
You and I talked earlier about bipolarism and some of the people that we've had to confront or come up against. And I don't ever want to be known as that person. I want people to know that I am who I am. I mean, you can put a tuxedo on me and send me to the country club and I can be very well behaved, or you can take me to the field house and have a couple of drinks and a couple of laughs.
Yes.
But I'm still not going to embarrass myself or the people around me in my behavior. Mm-hmm. So it is all about that.
I have a friend who recently was diagnosed with it. And when she first was diagnosed, she was really ashamed. But I think the thing that stood out to me is that she recognized that she was struggling.
Yes.
She knew that she was struggling, that there was something that was affecting her day-to-day life. And for someone who doesn't suffer with bipolar, and we're just going to real quick, I obviously don't know what that's like. But however, I do know that at a certain point in your life, you're aware. You are aware of your attitude. I don't know if attitude or just how you interact with other people.
Right.
You need to be able to find a way to set boundaries. Like if that's not a good day to have that conversation or do that, then find a way to communicate
to step out of it.
To
Yes,
step out of it and
absolutely.
communicate with it and manage your feelings, manage your emotions. There's
Well,
so many resources.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You have to be willing to address the elephant in the room. In the 12 or 13 years that we have been in business, we have hired probably a half a dozen people who struggle with addiction. And the first thing I say to them is, I understand. My two addictions, and I'm going to put this out there because, hi, I'm Jeff Double and I have an addiction. My addiction is shopping and food. And it's my responsibility to control both of those because they will affect the people around me.
Mm-hmm.
And when they would say to me, well, it's not the same, I understand it's not the same,
Mm-hmm.
but it's the same struggle. I
Yes.
struggle every day with those because in the business that I'm in, it was so funny. The other day on Facebook, I posted a reel that was, I have two talents. I'm an incredible decorator and I like to spend money on decorations and I like to decorate. And I'm like, okay, that's me.
You're like, that's me.
That's me. I want to decorate. I want to
Mm-hmm.
spend money on decorations and I want to spend time decorating. It's what I do.
Mm-hmm.
No matter if it's a shelf or a venue or someone's home, that's where my glory comes from. It's self-assuring to me that when I step back and I've achieved something, I know that I've done what I should have done and I've done it appropriately.
Yes. Well, you're so passionate about it. And we were talking about community too when we first sat down. And my first initial impression of you was that community is very important to you. So what does being a part of this area of Butler mean to you?
Well, again, for the first 50 years of my life, I lived in a rural community. And unfortunately, that community didn't get me and I didn't fit in. And what made me different from the average person is I had family that lived in Philadelphia. And in the summers, I would go for a week. My parents would take me to the Greyhound bus station in Pittsburgh. I would drive as a teenager to Philadelphia, spend a week with my crazy Italian aunt who used to own a deli. And the funniest story about her was she ran numbers. And so she was connected, as we do the little nose thing, she was connected.
Yes.
And I experienced big city life because we would go downtown to shop at Dillard's and all the high-end stores. And I would come back with fashion that hadn't even hit Pittsburgh yet.
Oh, yeah.
Because again, we were close to New York City.
Well, yeah, people don't really recognize that a lot. Philly, a lot of people go on the train
Right, back and forth.
to New York City.
Yep. So I came home with dungarees. I didn't wear blue jeans. I came home with dungarees.
That's right.
And I drank soda. I didn't drink pop. And people are like, "You're a freak." I'm like, "Yeah, I am, and I like it."
Yes.
And
I'm different.
Everybody was convinced in this small town that I was something that I wasn't. And I'm like, wait a minute. Just because I don't fit your scenario,
I don't fit inside your box.
right. Every Saturday morning I was in camouflage and hunter orange with a rifle in my hand, killing things in the woods.
Hey.
On Saturdays in the fall, we butchered pigs, chickens, cows. I did it all. And everybody's like, wait, you do what you do and you used to do that? And I'm like, yeah. My parents owned 18 acres and we survived from the land.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what, again, makes my personality where it is from beginning to end. I can go to the box store and buy a whole roast and cut it into steaks and shrink wrap it and put it in the freezer and know what I did instead of just buying steaks.
Yes.
And I know how to cut it up,
And you know where it came from.
and I know where it came from. And, it was the weirdest thing that as our daughter was growing up, my dad would feed her a T-bone steak for lunch because that's what she wanted. And I'm like, I don't know if I can afford this child because we would go out to eat and she would order an adult steak meal and kill it, the whole thing. She would eat the whole
She'd
thing.
eat the whole thing.
And she was a sprite of a child.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody was like, you're going to let her do that? I'm like, yeah, whenever you come back, her plate will be clean. The vegetables, the potato, and the steak will be gone. And we're trying to figure out where it's going to go. But, it just is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And because of living that spectrum, I'm the person I am today.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. And you had asked me about community involvement. In 2020, my wife was diagnosed with COVID, and she was a severe COVID case. 58 days in 3 different units. She was on a ventilator for 18 days, and every day for 58 days, we got 5 phone calls a day. My daughter and I were on a conference call trying to get her care and keeping her alive. Mm-hmm. And I started posting because I was trapped at home, and I started posting. And by the time the 58 days were up, I had 1,000 people following my journey with COVID. And people who didn't think it was serious were under the realization, because of the information that I was posting, realized how severe it was and how important it was to protect themselves. Mm-hmm. And again, I would come home from work, strip down to my underwear, leave my clothes on the back porch so I didn't bring germs in the house. We were having our food delivered, wiping everything.
Wiping all the groceries down.
Yep, with Lysol, and doing everything we could. And I came home from work one day and brought it with me. And we both almost died because I went to work. Somebody came into the building where I was employed and infected us with it. There were 11 of us on staff. 10 of us got it. My wife got it the worst. I was home for a month sick. I couldn't even function. Mm-hmm. And the one woman in the office at work never got it. I'm like, Chris, how does this work? My assistant that got it before COVID became a big thing was sick for 3 days. Mm-hmm. I'm like, Blake, how is it that I almost died and you were sick for 3 days? So,
that's what was scary about it.
Absolutely.
The not knowing.
You didn't know the severity. Mm-hmm. So my community involvement got turned up with that because of all the organizations, all the business people, and all the local people who stepped up and said, what can we do? I was getting food delivered to me daily by strangers and friends. And because of the fact that I was living on canned peaches and Ensure to stay alive, because that's all I could keep down, I would get dressed.
Oh, no.
Put the food in a trash bag so I wouldn't touch it, run across the street, what is it?
Ringing the doorbell, ding dong, ding dong. You ding dong ditched.
I would ding dong ditch food to my neighbors on my block.
Oh my gosh.
And I would stand across the street and yell, when you're finished, just put the dirty dishes or the clean dishes back on my porch. And I would contact the person that dropped the food off for their containers because I couldn't see wasting it because people couldn't go to their grocery store. And I'm like, these people were so selfless. And they didn't know us well enough that I thought, but it was a community. Yes. It was all of Butler. It was bizarre to us.
It's interesting how that happens. I've had that happen before where you put something out into the universe that you need help. You put out just a little signal, and the amount of people that will come out of the woodwork.
And people you don't even know.
Yes, people that you don't know. And Butler is really, I've learned that since moving back here.
Yes.
It is very much that. I've noticed that on a lot of the pages and Facebook, Instagram, it can be stressful and vicious at times.
Yes.
But there are moments where someone genuinely reaches out on there, and I always feel for the people. I feel for the people that are like, I don't get paid for another week. I can't buy food. And when I see that, I'm thinking, okay.
Absolutely.
I can't imagine
being
a parent and having children and not knowing how you're going to feed them for a week.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
So it is definitely a community of that. And that's how we met. I mean, we met at the Geyser Center for the first fashion show they had asked me to MC.
Absolutely.
And I knew immediately that you were just this community guy. Well, I knew it without even really having a full conversation with you.
And I didn't even know what the Geyser Addiction Center was about until a friend of mine said, we need a decorator for the fashion show. We need somebody to sponsor the centerpieces. And I went to one of the luncheons, and honest to God, Laura, very few people know this. I was sitting at one of the Geyser Center luncheons at the country club with the chairman of one of the largest recovery facilities in Pittsburgh, and my cell phone rang. A family member had been arrested with 50 stamp bags of heroin. And my heart literally went out the bottom of my feet.
Yeah.
I thought, oh my God, I'm here finding out about addiction, and it's at home. It's in my family.
Well, that's one of the things they talk about is how we're all somehow connected to that.
Yep.
in some form or matter, whether it's like a friend or a family member, like even down like second cousin.
Right. It's in your tree.
It's in your tree.
Right. And again, when I started hiring employees, I started hiring them from the Davis Archway facility, which is an incredible facility here in Butler. And we are truly blessed to have it. And it's one of those places that's out in the middle of the country. They're not connected to the community. They don't have an access to drugs. They don't have access to alcohol because they're literally on a farmette out in the middle of nowhere. And it grounds them. It brings them back to being alone and focusing on themselves. And I was hiring people from there. So on one hand, I had Davis Archway, and on the other hand, I had the Geyser Addiction Center. And in the middle, I had family members and friends, incredibly close friends, who were dealing with addiction. And it brought all of that to light for me and made it, again, one of my God's determined missions to help people get from A to B to C to move on. And I made jokes earlier about shopping and food are my addictions. And it may sound trivial, but if you've ever suffered with eating disorders, which I have suffered both ends, with anorexia and with overeating, you kind of get it. But
yes.
it's
Yes.
drugs and alcohol are a magnitude way beyond.
Absolutely.
But at least there's a foundation there to understand. And I understood the situation, and I was doing whatever I could to keep my employees above water. I paid rent for people to make sure that they didn't end up being homeless.
Yes, on the street is not a good place to be when you have a substance abuse disorder.
Absolutely. And, Mary Jane always said to me, it's not about the money. It's about the civility of making sure that the people around you are taken care of. If I have to eat ramen noodles for 3 days because I paid somebody's rent,
so be it. Yes.
So be it. God put me here for a reason. And it's my purpose to use my talents that he's entrusted me with to better the lives of the people around me.
Oh,
and that's what we continue to do. And I'm not going to sit here and list all of the facilities that we're involved in because it's pointless. I'm not putting myself on a pedestal. I've always told people I do what I do because it makes me feel good to know that I've taken care of the people around me.
Yes.
It's just like the story of feeding the neighbors the COVID food. What was I going to do with crock pots full of soup? You know what I mean? I was one person.
You knew that it could go to waste, and there was people that could use it. Yep. Well, I'm fully aligned with you I do believe that we are on this planet, on this earth, and sole purpose of all of us is to help others.
Absolutely.
I really, truly, truly, remarkably believe that. And even if you're in a position where you can't give money or you can't give actual items, it's time. Time is a thing.
Your time is the most valuable possession that you own, and the talents that go with the time. Because I know you're involved with the theater in Butler. That's a nonprofit. You're not getting paid to do that. But when you go on stage and see the smiles and the tears in the audience, that's you being lifted up and knowing that you're doing the right thing. Trust me, if the floral thing doesn't work, I'm going to be at the Pen 3 nights a week doing stand-up because I could tell you stories about weddings.
I'll get you there. I'll get you some gigs. I know some guys in Pittsburgh. We're going to start traveling.
We could be a traveling show.
Yes.
But there's so much humor in what I've experienced doing a wedding and decorating, and
I'm sure weddings give you a lot of good stories.
Oh, they do. They do. The running joke in my office with the bride and groom is Aunt Alice and Uncle Chuck. And Alice and Chuck, thank God, are not in my family, and may have been in the tree a few generations ago, but Alice and Chuck are the victim of so much sarcasm. So Alice is the chick that shows up at the wedding with Ziploc bags and Tupperware. Chuck is diabetic and blind, and they show up an hour early for the wedding, and Alice makes sure that when she leaves, she has Sunday supper and a whole Ziploc bag full of cookies because she can't have sugar at home because Chuck's diabetic.
So if she goes to a wedding with a cookie table, she's stocking up.
She is stocking up. She's not leaving here without a souvenir.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Lots of good stories. Well, there are opportunities for you to do stand-up even now if you wanted to.
Well,
I can make that happen.
Again, it may happen.
We've done stand-up through Hopknob, so let me know. And I know some guys in Pittsburgh that are consistently doing open mic nights. So, hey, that could just be a fun thing just to do sometime.
It would be. It would be. We
Why
almost
not?
like therapy.
I'm sure it is like therapy. It is. Well,
is.
and that's why a lot of us are involved in theater, because it is therapeutic.
Yep.
To go up on stage and play a different character. And I've had characters I've had to play where I'm definitely tapping into things.
Yes.
We did a show called Other Desert Cities at Butler Little Theater, and my character had to cry every night on stage. I had to full blown
Yep.
It was emotionally exhausting.
Oh, yeah.
But it was very therapeutic.
Yeah. Yep.
And it is. Those shows are hard, but there's people come to them. And I directed a Christmas show that was, people left there smiling, and they were so joyful.
They were uplifted.
They wanted to come back, and I was like, that's exactly what we wanted.
Yes.
And that's what it's about. So you did talk a lot about how you got into all of this, and I want to go back to that. Go back to the childhood. It's like making the
Yep.
So what are some of your earliest memories of that, of making things out of reclaimed items?
Well, again, as we talked, Laura and I had the pleasure of meeting at Vintage downtown and having kind of an interview, and it was fun because I made her giggle and made her think the whole time, because she was like, what is up with this guy?
No, I loved it.
Being the fact that, like I said, my parents had 18 acres in the country, and my parents were born in 1920 and 1922. So my parents are my grandparents' age. So being the fact that they went through the Depression, there was not the throw out mentality. It was recycle, reuse, repurpose. And because, again, there wasn't a big box store to go buy supplies. We had a hardware store in our town, but it was 10 miles away. So we would, when something would break and it wasn't repairable, you took it apart, nuts and bolts and tin cans, bits and pieces and parts in boxes. And my grandmother and my aunt used to make quilts, and I still have some of those quilts and some of those haps. And I had an aunt that worked for a very wealthy company or family in the area. And when the family would throw out their old wool coats, she would take them, cut them up, and make wool haps out of them. And she had befriended sheep farmers in the area, and when they had wool they couldn't comb, she would collect it and then pull it, put it in these haps, use old men's flannel shirts for the backing, and make winter haps because they heated this little house with coal and firewood. So I have those. And
you still have some of them?
I still have some of them.
Are you serious?
I'm the family historian. I have my grandmother's furniture. I have my aunt's quilts and haps.
Oh, cool.
I had the same aunt who used to work at the shirt factory here in Butler. I have her scissors from the shirt factory. I have some of her quilts and some of her haps. And one of my most precious belongings that I own is when my aunt was working for the family cleaning, they got rid of the old family piano. She gutted the piano. I trick you not. She gutted the piano. She didn't have a closet in my grandparents' house, and she put a rod into the piano back, and that was her closet.
What?
It was the room divider between her room and my grandparents, and she used fabric to make covers. And whenever we had to take down my grandparents' house, I took that piece and reinvented it. It's the TV cabinet in my living room. So I have a standing.
Cool.
It's really cool. I have a standing piano with a TV in it. And those of you who know me, who are following this podcast, know there's very few things that, and I say this with great pride, that I cannot recycle. And it just drives my wife and my staff insane because that's the way my dad did it. That's the way my mother did it. You know, we all have the butter cookie tins that at your grandmother's house didn't have cookies in them. They did for Christmas, but they have buttons and zippers.
That's right. I actually think I have one that has like buttons in it.
Yep. Yeah, I still have my grandmother's. It was a cookie tin or a candy tin with a handle. And all of her bits and pieces were in there in the treadle sewing machine that I still have in my hallway in my house that I taught myself to sew on, because when we would go to the farm in the summer and it would be torrential rain, when my aunt passed, she left unfinished quilts upstairs. And and I wanted to learn how to sew. And I was so impressed with her seamstress abilities, I wanted to learn. So I taught myself how to sew on a treadle sewing machine with these old quilt
That's
patches.
the sewing machine you taught yourself on?
Yes, it is. Yes,
oh
it
my
is.
gosh, that's bold. Very bold.
And it's really crazy because as years progressed, when my wife and I were expecting our daughter, I made and cut and built her maternity clothes because we couldn't afford to buy maternity uniforms. So I was going and buying raw fabric and the maternity panels and actually made her uniforms to wear to work. And then our daughter was born. And for the first 6 years, I made most of her clothes because it was a necessity. It's what I had to do to make sure that she had really cute clothes. And my wife worked nights and I worked days. So I had the baby awake and she had her asleep. Mm-hmm. So when Amanda would take a nap, I would sit down at the sewing machine in the kitchen and sew because it didn't make any noise. And then the baby monitor would go off and I would, get her up, change her diaper, feed her, and then be a dad. And when I had the opportunity, I'd go back to sewing. So That's cool. I took what I learned from my parents and utilized it to move forward. It was, as I use this term all the time, the foundation where everything started. Mm-hmm. Because of having older parents. And, we never struggled for money. We were never poor. But we had more food in our house than most of the neighbors because, for a prime example, how I got into this wedding decorating business, on Christmas Eve, my parents would have 150 to 200 people go through their house. And my mother would cook for a month prior to Christmas. She would start before Thanksgiving and start prepping for Christmas. And our chest freezers were full of fresh meats and fresh vegetables and baked goods and everything that came from the farm. It came from the ground at which we worked. And now that I live in the city of Butler, I have 14 raised beds. I'm growing my own floral product. We're growing vegetables and things like that because my wife loves to can and loves to cook. So again, the things that I knew from my past are still being utilized in my present for the future.
Wow.
And it's kind of crazy.
You're in a purpose. You're like solely in this is your purpose.
Right.
You're doing.
I'm in my niche. I'm in where I need to be.
Yes.
Something I talked to one of my customers about, and I still would like to do this. Once a year, I would like to print T-shirts. So once a year, it would say on the front, "This is what's made me me," and on the back would be a white square with 1 through 10. And with a permanent marker, you could go along and write down what makes you you. And if we had a gathering, people could read what's made you what you are today so that they would get a better understanding of who you are and what you've been through to get you where you need to be.
Wow.
And I just have never taken the initiative to do that. But I think it would be a great event for the community.
You just said it out loud.
I did say it out loud, so now I got to do it.
It's into the atmosphere. We've talked about this.
Yes, it's out there. Now it's going to float around because your podcast is going to be around forever. But I think it would be a great thing. And I had someone say, well, why would you open yourself up to people like that? Because it's lethargic.
But that's what community is. Yeah. It's about connecting.
Yep.
And that's what you do with all of these events. By the way, I won the mum at the Geyser Center Fashion Show. So excited. Because I didn't have a plant for my front porch.
Cool.
And I was so excited that I won the mum. I just had to tell you that.
Well, it's so funny because I'll have women, grab me by the elbow and go, "I won your door prize. I won your basket." And I'm like, okay, what event were you at? And they're like, oh, okay. And it's one of those things that it's so interesting because I'm so off the mark. I always tell people that we're not the average florist. My hashtag on Instagram is "I'm not your mother's florist," and I'm not. I am not.
I like that.
I'm not going to send you that roundy moundy Martha Stewart no character bouquet. I can't do that.
You don't copy them, right?
Right.
If you're doing an event, but there's still a little bit of
there's
unique
personality.
flair.
Yeah, there's a personality in
each one.
Everything.
Yes.
And I had a woman walk into my shop this morning before we came down here for the podcast, and she said to me, "I came to you for something different. My mother's a character." And I'm like, what is it? What are we celebrating? And she said, it's her 102nd birthday.
Whoa.
I'm like, woman, you hit the right spot.
Yep.
I had the most obnoxious tangerine orange roses in my cooler and chartreuse green and just the coolest obnoxious colors. And she's like, that's great. I said, yeah, because I'm not your mother's florist. I said, everybody else would send their mother white carnations and white flowers and pink roses and, be real girly and feminine.
102 deserves something unique.
Absolutely.
Please.
Absolutely. And she said to me, my mother is going to be thrilled with this. And I said, well, you walked in the door and you said, I want something different. My mother's going to be 102. And again, how many dozens of roses has your mother gotten in 102 years? Like for Valentine's Day, we don't do baby's breath because everybody sends baby's breath.
Mm-hmm.
The roses that we use are big-headed, high petal count, expensive roses. You're not going to get the $12 dozen roses that you get at the grocery store because anybody can do that.
Mm-hmm.
The only problem is not anybody. I'm the florist. I'm the crazy guy that has these visions. My wife jokes that I'm dating my phone because I'm always on Instagram, always on Facebook, always on a Pinterest page in Europe trying to figure out what the trends are.
Yes.
And I was blessed by the Butler Eagle, and I have to do a shout out to Tammy Shuey for finding me, on Washington Street. And they did an article on the changing trends in floral design for Valentine's Day. And she said to me, I need to know what's up. I don't need to know what you're doing. I need to know what's up with the trends. I know what's up with the trends. I can tell you what's going on in Switzerland. I can tell you what's going on in Germany and Paris.
You need a coffee table book.
You
do.
Believe it or not, Laura, you're going to love this one. I used to have my own TV show.
Okay. Pause. Talk about that, please.
Okay.
What was it called? When was this?
It was called All About Reclaimed. And it was on public.
What? You don't say.
You don't say.
Oh, my gosh.
It was on Channel 10.
Okay.
Commissioner Lowe, Scott Lowe, who is here in Butler, who is a former commissioner for the county of Butler, used to run the Channel 10 production crew. And he came to my house once a month, and we did an All About Reclaimed TV show. And I know that those videotapes, yes, kids, for those of us who are older than 35, there are these things called VHS tapes. Somewhere in the atmosphere,
I have some still.
There's a whole stack of VHS tapes that say All About Reclaimed, Jeff Double. And
we need to get those transferred, and we need to sit down and watch that someday.
Well, I will tell you the most traumatic experiences. His wife was his assistant, and Sandy and I were really good friends. And one day she said to me, you need to go change your shirt. Your man boobs are sweating. And I'm like, Sandy, are you kidding? And I looked down, and it looked like I had run a marathon because I was so nervous from being in front of the camera.
But then there was probably lights and stuff too when it gets hot in there.
Exactly. But we were in my
in
my living room.
But she was looking out.
She was. She
looking
had
out.
my back.
So you got it. I have to give mad props to people who do that.
Yep.
Like if someone has something stuck in their teeth, or a woman has something stuck to the back of her skirt, or God forbid worse.
Yes.
Tell people.
Yes.
Just let them know.
Just tap them on the shoulder and whisper in their ear.
Very subtly. Wouldn't you want someone to tell you?
Absolutely.
So, good for her.
Absolutely.
Good for her.
But
you were like, what?
I had so much fun doing it, but it was horribly, horribly stressful.
Yeah, I imagine.
So when COVID hit, I went back and did those projects again in my house and did reels for Facebook.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I got to do something. My kid was living in Cleveland. My wife was in a hospital, and I was trapped in my home with 2 dogs. And I'm like, I got to do something. So I set the camera up on the fireplace, and I would prep everything on the dining room table. And I was doing how-to videos in my dining room just to keep my sanity. I had a friend of mine send me a picture the other day of the dragonflies made out of the ceiling fan blades.
Yes.
I said, Nathan, I just took those off the back of my garage. I made those during COVID. He's like, can I get ahead? And I said, and I said this to you earlier, you have to get up yesterday to get ahead of me today because I move so fast.
That's the applause, ladies and gentlemen. That right there is going to live rent-free in my mind because that's such a good...
statement. It's just a simple statement.
Quote, but also a very empowering... It should make people want to... Now is the time.
Yes, absolutely.
There's no better time than the present. If you don't do it now, when are you going to do it?
Exactly.
It literally, that is life. I don't know about you, but I'm 45. I'll be 46 in May. But I do look back at my 20s, and I remember turning 30, and I'm like, what happened? Like, whoa.
Yeah.
16 years? It goes by like this.
Yep.
And your business, how many, 35 years?
35 years.
35 years of this business. So let's talk really quickly about what a typical day looks like for you when you're not at the shop. People always love to know, like, what's happening behind the curtain, what is the wizard doing?
As I made a joke earlier, it involves my pajamas, a cup of tea, and Netflix. So I need to decompress because I have 2 English bulldogs who are, as we refer to them, as the jelly girls. I have... When you pet one, you got to pet them both. When you play with one, you got to play with them both. So that's what I do is I play with the bulldogs or torture my cats and chase them around and try to pet them and hug them. Because, as well as I do, cats are the demon pet in the world. They don't want your attention. They want your food. And they want you to change the litter box.
Yes.
And simple.
Yes. If my cat is on my bed in the morning, there's a reason.
Yes.
Food bowl's empty.
Yes.
You haven't scooped the litter. I'm like, it's 5 a.m. Like, no, I haven't scooped the litter yet. I'm still laying in bed, and she is right there.
Yep.
She's had these moments recently where she does want me to pet her, but man, cats, they don't care.
Nope.
They don't care about your feelings. They don't care about your sleep.
Nope.
They're like, it's about me.
It's not your personal space.
Yes.
But our younger cat, her name is Rigatoni. She was born in a carpet on our front porch.
Aww.
And because of Italian heritage, my daughter went, she's a Rigatoni. She's a, she says, as my dad used to call him, sword pipe. Rigatoni at 3 o'clock is hungry. So now she's been bouncing on the bed. So I pick her up, pull up the blankets and throw her under the blankets and cover her back up just to make her mad. So she goes away. And she doesn't want me to do it again. So she got off the bed and she lays on my wife's side of the bed and meows that earth-shattering meow.
Yes.
Get up, I'm hungry. So, but to be absolutely honest with you, with the what do I do on my quiet time, I try to recover. I try to recharge. Again, like I said, I spend a lot of time on social media and doing my due diligence and trying to find out what the trends are because I like to try new things. I like to try new technology. I like to try new techniques. And again, with the recycle reclaim, one of the weirdest things I've ever done was I sent a young lady a bouquet of flowers in a live animal trap. And the card from her husband went,
oh my
you
gosh.
captured my heart years ago with all my love. And go ahead.
So live animal trap, there's 2 things popping in my brain.
It was brand new. Brand new.
Okay. So it's just one of like the metal ones where if you're trapping like a stray cat and they walk in and it
closes.
It closes. We're not talking about like a bear trap where it's like open and flowers are coming up out of the middle and you're like, don't pick up the flowers because it's going to.
Yeah, it's
okay.
So she calls me and she said, have you had a stroke? And I'm like, what do you mean? She goes, I have never gotten a flower arrangement in bondage before.
Do you have a photo of this?
No, I don't.
Oh my God.
But I can do it again. I still have the cages. Okay. And the reason I had
that's what we should do.
That's what we should do.
That's what we should do.
Well, the reason I had the cage, I had a friend of mine give me 2 of them because we had a raccoon and a squirrel in our building on Washington Street.
Oh, well,
yes.
Yeah.
Downtown Butler. I had a raccoon and a squirrel move in. And I am not Dr. Doolittle.
Yeah.
So they had to go.
I don't know. You're like, you need to go live in the forest.
Yeah, yes. So they went down.
You don't want to be in downtown Butler.
No, I took them down by the Connequenessing where there's still trees and there's things to eat that weren't in my building. So, yes, I live trapped them and released them in somebody else's yard.
Someone's probably listening. They're like, that's where that raccoon and squirrel came from.
Yep.
It's Jeff Double's
Double.
problem. Well,
I
either way.
rehomed
You
them.
rehomed them.
Yep.
It's very much under the umbrella of the reclaimed, rehome,
Absolutely.
reclaimed.
Yep.
You know, we were talking earlier too about if you get an item like a piece of wood or something, do you immediately kind of know what it's going to become?
Yes.
Or how do those materials sort of fascinate you?
Well, here's the thing. I might be dyslexic. I don't know.
Oh, I'm pretty sure I am. So
as Sheldon Cooper said, he's been tested. I have not been tested, but I look at things upside down. The first thing I do, because of being an antique collector, you turn things upside down and see where the maker's mark is.
Mm-hmm.
And I do the same thing with a piece of wood. I want to find the characters. I want to find the lines. I want to find the mechanics of it, how I can attach it, how I can utilize it. And again, in my backyard is a tree stump, and the bark is peeling off, but the bark is almost an inch thick. And I have a client that once a month gets an orchid arrangement. So what I did is I took a 5-gallon bucket and 3 pieces of this bark, filled the bucket with bleach water, and made sure that I killed any signs of life in the wood and cleaned it up, power washed it, and attached it to a glass container and sent her an organic arrangement with real bark. And when we went back to make another delivery, she still has the container.
Oh, cool.
She was so impressed with the bark-covered container that she kept it. And it's one of those things. It's like, okay, I made a memory. She's holding on to that. And if I'm not mistaken, she may have put a live orchid into the container.
Sat it down inside.
So it looked, because I'm not sure if everybody knows this, but in the rainforest, orchids grow on the side of a tree. They don't grow in the ground.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They're air plants. If you go to like Grown on Main and buy an air plant, that's a miniature orchid. And I don't have 2 green thumbs, you can see them. They're both beige.
Yeah.
I can kill anything. If you treat an air plant correctly, it's a seedling of an orchid, and they'll actually bloom.
That's
little
fascinating.
Tiny orchids. It's crazy. But this woman gets an orchid arrangement every month. And if you want to be challenged, as you are with the podcast, I don't think the general public understands that if you do the same thing every single month, you have to outdo the month before. As you and I were talking about you being an award-winning podcaster, it's like, okay, thanks. I really appreciate that. You've raised the bar so high that now I have to outdo that. So once a month, I have to close my eyes and envision in the darkness that's my brain something better than the month before.
Yes. Oh, I fully understand that. I fully understand that. I was telling Tammy the other day, or probably this morning, that it's like I'm on this plateau now. I've come to this level, but now I'm here and I'm like, I don't want to really stay here very long. I want to go up to the next level. And I will tell the sports guys that a lot when we do podcasts. We'll implement something like, we have to do this for a while. I don't like to change. Once I start adding something on, I'm not backpedaling. I don't want to go back. I want to keep going forward.
Absolutely.
We can recognize at some point if something doesn't work, but there's nothing dramatic happening that's not working. But I fully understand that.
And the general public doesn't, oops, I just found the button on my chair.
Ooh, I know you went down just a little bit. Yeah.
I'm closer to the microphone. But it's like in what I do. We started with simply doing centerpieces. Now, in the warehouse on Washington Street, I have $500,000 invested in inventory. So if you wonder why I don't drive a Mercedes, why don't I have a house in Ibiza, and why I rent my house, it's because...
Ibiza? No. Yes.
I just saw that last night. That was the proper way to pronounce it. But
Ibiza. Sorry, I've never been there, but now I want to go.
I couldn't even spell it, so God bless you.
There's a Z in it, but it's anyways,
somewhere.
I digress.
It's like decor has the little hyphen, and I always put it in the wrong place. It's what I do for a living, and I still can't spell it right. But it's one of those things that I reinvest to move forward and upward. I have couples come into my warehouse all the time that just need bridal bouquets. And they'll say to me, can we possibly go through the warehouse and look? Like, absolutely. And that's the hook. We'll go back to the beginning of this interview. People walk through the door and they'll go, is all of this available? And I'm like, yes. This is where Pinterest comes to live. Sofas, chandeliers. I just purchased a chandelier.
I'm never going to want to leave the building.
Well, I had a groom the other day that said to me, this is nicer than my house. And his fiance said, but we can, what is it when you want to move forward to something? We can aspire to this.
Aspire. Yes.
Again, don't ask me to spell it. If you follow me on social media,
Aspire. Aspire.
God bless you. Okay, answer me a question because you are an intelligent individual. Aspire.
I try to be.
I can aspire to something, but what's on the top of a church? Aspire.
Spire. I think it's spire. Yes, it is.
I hate the English language. I put this out there on Leora Crago's podcast. I hate the English language. Where and utter. Think about utter. I utter a word and a cow has one. And they're not spelled the same.
No, they're not.
So again, we're back.
I'm thinking about the spell. Utter, when you say it, I think it's with the T. I think it's Utter, right?
Yes.
Is there two T's? And then udder for a cow is with a D.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't care. It's the same word. Okay.
Yeah, I understand. I get really, what's funny to me, and just really quickly, side note, is whenever you're on social media and people are arguing about something.
Yes.
And there's always someone in there that uses the wrong there.
Yes.
Or your.
Yes.
And then you're scrolling and you're looking for the person that put YOU''RE with like a little asterisk.
Yes.
I did that once to a woman and she came for me. And
I
said, but your statement was on education.
Yes. And you can't spell.
And you used the wrong your.
Right. And they're the first ones to pick up a pitchfork.
So I corrected you because that's the definition of hypocrisy.
Yes.
What you just did.
Yep.
I'm not perfect, but all I know is that in this interaction, in this sentence, in this interaction right here, you were wrong.
Yep.
And yes, I'm sure that infuriated you even more, but it makes your point sort of moot at this time.
It absolutely is.
I'm like, now I'm not even paying attention to what you're trying to say because your ignorance is apparently bliss in your life.
Visual.
Yeah, I can see you're making a point of people who moved to this country and speaking English. And I was like, well, but you're not proper. They should educate themselves. I'm like, maybe you should.
Maybe you should too. Well,
and we all should.
On a lighter note of this situation.
Yes.
I do a lot of talks to text because I can't spell. Okay. And I will be the first to admit it. I'm 62, and about 4 years ago, I figured out where a comma goes in a sentence. God bless me and forgive me, Bob Dandoy, who was my English teacher in high school. But
we love you, Bob Dandoy.
We love you, Bob Dandoy. But I made a post last summer that was guerrilla marketing and didn't realize it was guerrilla marketing. I posted a picture of 500 dried peonies in my warehouse, and the quotation underneath was, "Did you know you can dry your peonies?" It didn't type that.
It didn't type peonies. It typed something else.
Panties. And I posted it.
Oh,
and
no.
3 hours later, my Facebook page was going, "Why? This is my business page."
It was like ding, ding, ding,
yep.
ding, ding.
It sounded like a trolley yeah. So,
oh no.
My wife calls me 3.5 hours later and says, "Can you please edit your post before you hit send?" And I'm like, "What?" She goes, "Jeff, you have a post on your business page that says, 'Did you know you can dry your panties?'" 25 people commented and 127 people liked it.
Hey.
And I thought, okay, everybody in Butler County knows you can dry your peonies now.
And they definitely know now because we're talking about it.
Absolutely.
That's hilarious. But I think that's happened to all of us.
It has.
It's a human thing.
Yes. And that's
And where we started talking in the beginning, I thought we are definitely in a place right now where a lot of people are struggling and life is hard.
Yeah.
And it really goes back to that, everyone's fighting some sort of battle you know nothing about. Just be kind.
Yes, absolutely. You don't know what people are going through. And again, that takes me back to that T-shirt. It takes me back to that T-shirt.
Because it's true. When you're trying to sit here and not... and fighting with someone because they don't agree with you. We
Right.
talked about this at Vintage,
Yes,
right?
yes.
They don't agree with you. And we had conversations, right?
Yeah, very
I mean,
in-depth.
you were making fun of me when I came in and I was told you about my adaptogen. And you're like, oh, you're just like my daughter with your lion's mane and your reishi. And I was like, yeah, I am.
And she has a tree in the office so she can hug one at any time.
And I got one over here. You're like, well, and you have a tree, which was hilarious. But it's sort of this, when you do see those things, maybe it opens a little bit more of a door for you when understanding, oh, I could understand why that person.
Yes, absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
also how we were raised. Like we were all
Yeah.
raised so differently.
Yes.
And I mean, I was raised in a house with two brothers, two parents. You know, when my father passed away, both of my brothers were old enough where they were kind of out of the house.
Yep.
However, I went out and I've lived all over the country.
Yes.
And when we have conversations about a lot of things, we have very different viewpoints.
Absolutely.
And I'm not married. I don't have kids. Wasn't a choice. We could go down that rabbit hole someday.
Yep.
But my oldest brother got married very young, started having a family, moved to Tennessee, and has lived there ever since. He doesn't have to understand my choices.
No.
It's just respecting the fact that I have gone through the things I've gone through, and I've met people from different countries. I've had roommates from other countries, so I have a different perspective on certain things.
Absolutely.
I don't have a level of fear that some people do when it comes to living in New York City.
Right.
You know, when they came to visit, the one time they came to visit, we were on the subway and I could see the fear on my brother's face.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I'm like, I know that I am not in control.
No.
There's a greater source that
Yep.
we all talk about that's in control.
Yep.
I can't control. I really hope something bad doesn't happen. I
Right.
hope that I'm not on a subway train where something awful happens.
Yeah, but you're going to have to live with your brother for the rest of your life. If some crazy person flashes you on the subway, it's your fault because your family goes, well, Laura, you put us in this situation. Now we have an 8-year-old that can say they've been flashed in New York. Okay, it's an experience.
But it's also I can't control that person did that.
No.
We don't
No.
have control over what other people do. And something else we talked about before this, all I have control over is how I react to the situation.
How you respond.
And then I'm like, okay, you know what? That is who that person is. I am going to put myself over here because that is serving no purpose to me.
No.
And I have worked too hard to get to where I am, to do what I am, and I'm still working hard. And
I
I'm
do
still
every
trying
day.
to prove myself. We talked about this.
Yes,
It's like you're
every
always
day.
leveling up. But I'm not going to apologize for being who I am.
No.
And I don't want to live in fear.
Nope.
I just don't. I don't think that that's a way to live. And it's just something for people to be mindful of. It's hard. If you're going through something heavy, it doesn't mean that has to be an excuse for to how you treat other people.
Exactly. Exactly. And to kind of go off with your point, 12 years ago, my wife was unfortunately diagnosed with MDS, which is myelodysplastic syndrome, which is bone marrow cancer. And she was told she had 3 to 5 years to live. That was 12 years ago. The reason that I have a building on South Washington Street is my wife said to me, and I quote, I want to see you live your dream before I die.
Mm.
In 6 weeks, I sold my house, I quit my full-time job, moved to Butler, and started a business in a 6-week period. I was scared to death. We started this business with $5,000. And I said to her, when the $5,000 is gone, I'm done. I got to go back to work.
Mm-hmm.
We went through that. We survived COVID. When COVID hit, I went to RW McDonald's and sold furniture for 1 year, from March 18th to March 18th. And in the midst of that, Lee McDonald said to me, you are exceptional. Do you want to buy this business? And I looked at him square in the face, as serious as I could be, and said, no, I'm not taking on your demons. I have to deal with my own. And I've worked too hard to get myself where I'm at in my own business because I was working for him to pay my mortgage and my insurance and my utilities because my employees couldn't go to work and we weren't given self-employed unemployment as of yet. So I had to do what I had to do.
Yes.
Again, because in my age, if you were not working, you had unemployment. Well, if you don't get unemployment, you go to work.
Yes.
I could have sat at home and rested on my laurels, but I didn't. I went to work. And the Chamber of Commerce got wind of this, and I'm going to give a shout out to Jordan Grady, who is the most amazing chairman of the Chamber of Commerce.
Bow tie guy.
Yep, the bow tie guy, awarded me with the Entrepreneur of the Year because I didn't give up. I wasn't afraid, and I moved on. Now, if you put me in a room full of strangers, I will shut down immediately, and I will sit in the corner,
That's interesting.
and I will do an Irish goodbye every time. But if I know the room, and you have to read the room, if I know the room, I'm on. I am, well, like I am all the time. And Laura has to be aware of this. When I won the award, my wife said to me, when you accept it, don't cuss. And I'm like, great, because everybody knows I have a foul mouth. So,
and you've done such a wonderful job here. I appreciate
that. So far.
Wow.
But that's about to change. So when Tom Graham...
There's a beep coming.
There's a beep coming. When Tom Graham did the pre-interview in my warehouse, I introduced myself as, hi, I'm Jeff Double. I own All About Reclaimed and Weddings by Jeff Double. If you don't know me, I'm a really nice guy. And if you do know me, I can kind of be... And it stuck. So now I have T-shirts and mugs, and I'm known in every...
You have T-shirts and mugs that say that you're kind of a...
Yeah, I'm kind of...
Stop it.
Gifts from my friends. So now when I'm introduced into a new board, this is Jeff Double, and he's known for being... And everybody applauds because it takes the ice right off the table. And people realize that I'm a human being, that I'm not a celebrity. I'm not somebody on a pedestal. And I'm just an ordinary guy who happens to have a God-given talent and doesn't mind sharing it.
You've dedicated your whole life to this, though. I mean, you grew up around this and you've worked really hard. So there is a level where you're able to sort of have that.
Right. Right.
Because you've set a standard. Again, we're coming back to the standard that you set. And there are moments where you want something done a certain way and you want it done a certain way. Yes. I am very much like that.
Absolutely.
Very much like that.
Yep.
I'm a planner. I am someone who knows exactly, like, especially when I direct a show, I read a script.
Yep.
And typically there's a moment during that script where I get a visual.
Absolutely.
And the minute I have that visual, I'm like, done, that's it.
Yep.
This is it. This is what's happening. And that's kind of the catalyst for me to set off.
Absolutely.
And it's sort of this thing too, where when I'm in a show as an actor, I'm not telling the director, well, I want to sit here and then go here or there or whatever. I let them give me, and if there's certain things that I'm like, well, it does feel weird if I stay over here too long. Would it be okay if it's
all in perspective.
It is perspective, but it's also giving them the respect of that they have a vision for how they want me to go here, there, or wherever. And even for the set, I've never gone to a director and said, well, why are you doing that? Or why is this?
Right.
I'm part of this.
Right.
So when I do step into that role, I take it very seriously. And you're in your role. You're like 100% there.
Right. And my family and my staff have all said to me, I don't want to deal with you on a wedding day because... Again, whack. Again.
Yeah, but weddings are like...
It's hyper stressful. And my thing is I've planned for a year and a half with this girl. I've read her mind. I've become a friend. I've become a confidant. You know, she's unloaded on me about her mother-in-law. She's unloaded on me because of her sister-in-law or her mother or her sister or whatever, her uncle, whatever it is. We all have an Aunt Alice and we all have an Uncle Chuck to circle back. And then there are hours of information. But when I sit down with a bride and a groom in my office, I can read her almost immediately, just like you can read a script and you get the vision. Mm-hmm. And I always say to them, okay, is this what you want? And I'll go down the list. And their eyes light up, their shoulders come back, and they breathe again. And they're like, yes, because nobody else has listened to me. And I say to them, because nobody gets the big picture. Just like being a producer or a director. Mm-hmm. It's big picture. An actor is one part. I'm occasionally an actor, but most of the time I'm a director or a producer. And again, when the hats change, the personality changes.
Yes. 1,000%.
Yep.
1,000%.
Yep.
So we do have a lot more to talk about, but I think we can continue this next week.
Okay.
Hold on, let me look at one thing here and make sure there's not anything.
Well, one of the things that I wanted to make sure that the general public knew is we are a full-service florist. Birthdays, anniversaries, hospitals, sympathy pieces. We can do all those things, and we do offer delivery. If we can't deliver it for you, we will take the order, find a qualified florist to send the order to. I will speak to a human being. There are so many order gatherers out there that have fictitious addresses that don't exist. They're going to charge you service charges. I had just an example the other day of something I shared. A woman spent $100 and got a $65 arrangement. By the time they took the service charges, transmission fees, and delivery from her $100, she sent a $65 arrangement. That's not how this works. I had a woman, what's today? Thursday. I had a woman on Tuesday at 9 o'clock at night. And yes, my clients call me at 9 o'clock at night and said, I dropped a ball. I need to send something to Allison Park. Do you go that far? And I said, no, but I'll take care of it. Send me the deceased, the funeral home, the card message, and the total. And she did. And I got online. I found the florist. I placed the order and took care of it. She was assured that what she wanted to send would be the level of what she was looking for. And that's a special thing that you do. And again, that's what takes us above and beyond those order gatherers. And in this area, this is a really sensitive situation. There are other florists in the area. I'm the only one that's owned by a florist. I'm the guy that takes the order, makes the order, and I'll deliver it. You know what I mean? It's plain and simple. I'm not a businessman. My wife and I had an agreement when we started this. She would be the business aspect, and I would be the creative aspect. Well, with her health issues, I have hired a secretary and an accountant, and their primary job is to keep me out of jail.
I like how you move. You just, hey, that's like voiceover 101 there. Using the microphone, using your distance from the microphone to emphasize what you're saying.
Yes.
That was perfect.
Again,
well done, Jeff. Well done.
I'm looking to retire from floral and go into stand-up and tell the inside stories of all of
You slowed down. You brought your tone down. You moved into the mic. Even your face changed, which it does when you're doing voice stuff.
Yes,
ma'am. That's hilarious.
Absolutely. Hey, I'm multifaceted. Some of them are a little sharp. Some of them are a little rough, but I'm multifaceted. And I don't take myself too seriously. You know, it's really rough for me to explain this, but I don't have a whole lot of self-esteem. So it's all smoke and mirrors. But I am grateful every day for every second, every minute, every day, week, month, and year that I'm on this planet and be able to do what I do. And again, you have to stay humble, you have to stay grateful, and you have to stay grounded and connected to your community. If you think you're above the people that you're serving, they're not coming back.
Exactly. That's a wonderful message.
Well, I appreciate that.
Thank you.
And I mean that from my heart.
Oof. You're a force to be reckoned with.
I am. As I said earlier, you got to get up yesterday to get ahead of me today.
Oh my gosh. I feel like I need to
duck and cover.
No, I feel like I need to go home and start getting back into the projects that I was working on.
Absolutely.
Which is happening. I have a plan for that when I have the time. But thank you.
Not a problem.
And this isn't the end of our conversation. This is just the start. We'll be back next week with more. And the video next week is what I'm really excited about.
I am too.
We're going to be in your shop, your store, your
warehouse, whatever.
Warehouse.
Are we sure? We tried to book Snoop Dogg for this, but it didn't come to fruition.
Yeah, we tried to get Martha and Snoop Dogg, but
it's going to end up being us.
It's just going to be us.
We will be the Butler version of Martha and Snoop.
So you're Martha and I'm Snoop?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Hey,
listen.
No, I'm ambidextrous. I can be multiple personalities.
Ambidextrous. Okay. Well, I'm a Gemini. I don't know if that has anything to do with anything. Have you ever seen those memes where it's like Kermit the Frog and it's like, no, Susan, it's not because you're a Scorpio. It's because you're a...
Yeah. Yep. Well, that's what I said about being ambidextrous. I have multiple personalities.
Yeah.
Again, folks, I can't spell. So, you know what I mean?
I'll do the spelling.
Yeah, right. And I'll do the comedy.
And you'll do the comedy.
Yeah.
I like that.
So,
You can do that. Okay, great. Jeff's work is more than just what you see. It's what you feel. A reflection of heart, vision, and a genuine love for creating something meaningful. Thanks for being here. And thanks to Jeff for sharing his story. Thank you for tuning in to Alter Eagle. Join me every Wednesday for a new episode, and be sure to click subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Alter Eagle Podcast. Until next time, stay safe, stay hopeful, stay kind.